you know, got to take care of responsibilities across the board here. We've got to handle the run game, and like you just said, we got to handle these receivers and this quarterback scrambling around. Got to keep him contained. It'll be a good test for our guys.
The obvious X factor is Trayvon Blake, and what are your thoughts on BG Catalan?
I think they've got a lot of weapons, you know, and we're going to have our hands, so this will be the biggest test to date. We're going to have to play with good eye control. They do a lot of things with their motions, their fly sweep series, one backs, two backs, no backs. Try to keep that second level. Eye control really for our guys and making sure that our safeties have their eyes where they're supposed to be and just be sound across the board.
Coach, have you guys been to this point against SMU and SFA? Have you been pretty vanilla, would you say, leading up to this, so TCU couldn't really see all the glitz and different things, I guess?
No, I mean, we haven't been really vanilla. We've kind of given a mixture. We had a little bit more in the SFA game that we hadn't shown in the opener, and this will be a little bit different menu. Maybe there'll be some things that you all will have seen, and there may be some wrinkles that you haven't seen.
Coach, how do you describe Mike Always as a player and what he does for you guys?
Very emotional, plays with a big, huge heart, you know, heart the size of this room. A lot of energy, still growing, still maturing, probably putting some gray hairs on my head from time to time, but wants to do really good. And as this thing continues to go into the future for him and this program, I think he'll be a really strong voice for our locker room.
Coach, with that said, is he a type of player that you love to coach as a coach?
Yeah, because he shows up every day, you know, wants to do well, ask a lot of questions. He's into it, and a lot of energy every day. Very seldom is he dragging, you know, and he's got a heavy workload off the field because he's in engineering. So, you know, you talk about a kid that's going around the clock and just well-rounded. And, you know, my son's in the building as much as he can. And Mike always is obviously a guy that he really looks up to.
Did game planning for this game begin before the Stephen F. Austin game?
Yes. Yeah, we looked at TCU, had eye on them for a while now, and obviously it started in the off season. And you know, I know Gary and that crew, Rusty Burns, one of their co-offensive coordinators. He and I were at Wyoming together. That adds another little wrinkle. Plus, they played. I played against them when I was at Air Force. They've seen some of our wrinkles, so I had to really look hard at what we had done in the past and you know, put together a menu that our guys could operate, not overdo it for our guys, but also keep them guessing.
What was your experience like coaching your first game in the Jones?
It was yeah, it was really good. Other than the lightning delay, which I hadn't been a part of anywhere. I don't think I can remember sitting in there. You know, you get juiced up. The kids were excited. The crowd's excited. And then you got to sit in there like a bunch of animals, you know, waiting to come out of a locker room there for about an hour. But good energy, a lot of excitement. I know my son, who's an 8th grader, and my wife, who have been in a lot of big places, really thought it was a neat experience in here.
Coach, how do you feel about the depth at cornerback? How many do you have that you think you can rely on?
You know, just growing every day. You know, we're trying to come on. You know, it was great in the last ball game to get the second and third team guys some reps, and you know, we're a work in progress trying to build that. But Theory Naguma, D. Paul, Derek Mays, Jeremy Reynolds, all those guys are coming. You know, it's been a work in progress, and obviously with Derek Mays and Jeremy Reynolds coming off of injuries, that's been the key of being able to ramp them up with a lot of reps without them flaring up. So excited about D. Paul and excited about Theory Naguma as well.
How big of a boost was it to see some turnovers in the past game?
Well, you know, I think the guys are tired of hearing about it, and we harp it every day. So for us to be able to come out and have 2 4th-down stops, we count those as takeaways. 2 4th-down stops, the safety, the fumble early, obviously juiced us up, and then the interception there at the end, which we were teasing Zach Wimbush. That should have been a defensive score had he not run out of gas. But those are shows that the hard work's paying off. And I've said all along since I've been here, I think those will come in waves. So hopefully this broke the ice. We need several in this ball game.
Who graded the highest? If you had a defensive player of the week, who was
The defensive player of the week was Micah Alway. But right in behind him, again, very solid game, was Trey Porter. Trey's been playing really good football for us. Mike Alway production with our productivity charts was very active and very energetic and ran around the field. And I thought, again, defensively we played with good energy, a lot of hats to the ball, and just like the hard work that our guys are doing in between the lines right now.
With most of your defense seeing Trayvon Boykin last year, does that help very much, or has he changed so much that you kind of just wipe the slate?
No, I think anytime you can see somebody, that's always a good thing. I think he's a dual threat. He's a compact kid. We're going to have a lot of hats on him. They've got good running backs, and again, just their system makes you be disciplined and eye control, and I think he's the type of kid that if you don't have a lot of hats running to the football, he can do it on the ground and in the air.
Have you been pleased with player discipline through the first 2 games and penalties?
Yeah, we've been, it's still pretty heavy with the penalties. Too many penalties around here defensively, and I think the guys are playing hard, just trying to play a little bit smarter. And we talk to them. Sometimes they don't think that they're penalties. Jeremy Reynolds, I wasn't quite sure why he had his, so we had to say, hey, we're going to have some, from time to time, we're going to have some penalties thrown against us, and we just have to respond to that and go on to the next snap.
Coach, as a defensive mind, what is the defensive mind like of Gary Patterson? What do you think about him as a defensive coach?
Yeah, I think he's really, really good. I mean, obviously, track record speak for itself. They've always had solid defenses. They're going to play very aggressive. I think the type of guys that they recruit and the guys that play for him on a day in and day out basis, they've got a tough mentality with really good technique, and they're always going to be sound.
What is the key for the front seven this week?
Gap responsibility and physically out-hitting TCU. I think with Kerry Hyder, Donnell Wesley, our whole entire front seven, it's a big challenge to roll our sleeves up and battle these guys in the trenches to prevent the run game in the middle. Obviously, we got to do a great job on the perimeter, but we've also got to apply some pressure, but we got to stop the inside run game.
You know if you'll have Andre Ross back this week, and if he's down, who else have you worked at back besides the top 2?
Yeah, he's day to day, so I can't really comment to him on whether or not we'll have him or not. But Zach Wimbush is a kid that we have sprinkled in at that position from time to time. And there's, Malik Jenkins has played that position. Brandon Jackson has played that position. So there's a number of guys that can play the bandit spot. We kind of went deep into the bench on Saturday night with Stephen F. Austin and let some guys play that may not be in that particular role in a ball game like this. But there are some guys that are ready to go.
Coach, you made a big emphasis about turnovers, and you got 2 on Saturday. Would you ever show, because the Cowboys have done the same thing, they made a big emphasis on turnovers. They got 6 last night. Is that something you ever show the team? Just kind of, okay, guys, here's the NFL, here's the big boys, here's what they did. It's the same emphasis that we're trying to do.
Yeah, we're always trying to motivate our guys, and things like that's a great example of what you just brought up, trying to show them that hard work will pay off. And I think for our guys on Saturday night, being able to get the safety plus the other 2 and the 4th down stops were big for us.
If you had to name a primary contributing factor to getting turnovers, what's the top of the list for you?
Aggressive play. Obviously eye control, depends on what the situation is, but I think if you play violent, like, the forced fumble early in the ball game was just a violent play by Dartwan Bush, and we had hats running to the football. We had a couple on the turf there at SMU that were good tackles. Trey Porter on the running back at SMU put his hat right on the football, and we just didn't get the bounce. So we kept talking and preaching that if we keep playing violent, keep working technique, that the ball will eventually bounce our way, and hopefully this broke the ice.
Does it make your preparation any easier at all, knowing that Paul Hall is not there, so you know which quarterback you're going to get?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I mean, at least you got the men. You got dual threat now. I mean, they do what they do, and you know, more than anything, probably for them, it probably going to settle some things down, and maybe a little bit of a quarterback controversy. We thought all along coming out of the LSU game, you know, that number 2 was maybe the guy that was being the most productive for them. So now here he is in the spotlight on national television with a group of offensive guys that I think rally around. I think they believe in him, and this will be a huge test for us.
Just the win and kind of how we got it, you know, the triple overtime and winning like we did in the fashion on the last play of the game, and just the excitement that our kids enjoyed after the game. It was a hard-fought game back and forth, and you know, those guys made plays at the end of the game to win.
Sonny, does it feel like it's been 9 years since the last time TCU played a game in the stadium?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I know it. I was thinking about that. So, you know, it's last year's game, you know, back and forth was such a tightly contested game and hard fought, and expect that this week. And excited that they're coming to Lubbock, and we had you know, going up to their place last year was awesome. You know, they did a great job redoing their stadium from our standpoint of it, and looking forward to having them come back on Thursday.
What do you remember about that game in 04?
Now, you know, the first thing that sticks to me is all the boo birds I was getting. It was 21-0. It was bad, yeah. And then we completed that ball to Hicks and just kind of got it going. And that was a fun afternoon for us. You know, it's, you know, kind of how this offense can go at times if you get things rolling and things snowball for you.
Coach, only a few days before that, you guys had a disappointing loss in New Mexico. How do you kind of help to instill, I guess, a short memory, just like you had to have that time with Baker Mayfield, and a week later putting 70 points up?
Yeah, that was a low point for us, losing to New Mexico like we did, and hadn't lost to them. I think it was like something like 14 years or something. But I get reminded of that quite a bit. But no, I think that the you know, the whole thing about playing football and coaching football is having a short memory, and it's so easy to motivate whenever you lose, because guys are down, guys are frustrated because you lost, coaches are coaching maybe a little harder. But I think the teams that truly have you know, success throughout the course of the season handle success really well and are able to put things behind them. And so that's a challenge that both sides face this week, is putting last week's game behind us and moving on and being as prepared as we can for this game. So having a short memory, whether it's positive or negative, is key for coaches and players.
Coach, you've played and coached in this game. How big is the difference in the fact that it is a old Southwest Conference rivalry?
Well, I just can recall from when I played in it and then coaching in it last year, and then I covered the game and whenever Tech played up there after we played them, and it's just an intense rivalry. You know, anytime you play a school within the state, you have a lot of kids that went to high school together or competed against each other in high school, and so, you know, there's guys that communicate throughout the course of the year, and it's just fun. It's fun for coaches. It's fun for players to be able to get together and play.
Sonny, how important is it to get out in front early, given that when you were playing, they got out in front real fast?
Yeah, I was impressed with how we started last week. We started fast last week against Stephen F., and it's something that we've coached and preached to our kids, is to get out to a fast start. And you know, it's important. If you want to play fast, you've got to get first downs and you got to move the chains. And so for us to do that early is important, to get everybody settled in and going.
Sets up a rhythm that can hopefully keep snowballing.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, you just try to get first downs and get completions and stay ahead of the chains, you know, early on and downs.
Being here the last couple of years, could you sense a different feeling in the stadium on Saturday night?
I think there's a lot of excitement, you know, even everywhere we've gone, you know, recruiting roundups, alumni events, you know, the Red Raider fan base is and I'm happy that it seems that everyone's really united behind these kids and behind our school, because that's what it's ultimately about. It's about our kids and it's about our school, and I'm excited that they're excited for them, because our kids do feel off you know, negative and positive energy. And so I think there was a different feel in the stadium, and I can't wait for our kids to be able to play in front of the fans on Thursday night with the atmosphere that they'll provide.
Going back to Saturday, what were your thoughts on the extra on-field official, and did it help the offense keep pace?
You know, I didn't really notice it. I didn't notice it a lot. The biggest thing we've got to do a better job of to keep the pace going is get the ball to the official and get lined up. Our substitutions were really slow, guys coming on and off the field. So in order to pace, I think I didn't notice it from an officiating standpoint at all.
I know it's in the second half, but does Quentin White earn a little more playing time?
Yeah, he had a really explosive second half, and we'll go back to it, watch it on film, and yesterday in practice, today in practice, and kind of just see who practices the best, and get him out there. But he did a really good job while he was out there.
What does he do different than the other backs?
I think he's able to sometimes fit in those tight running lanes. He can hit the running lanes, and he doesn't have probably the game breaking speed, but he has the ability to make people miss, and so he plays really hard on special teams, which is encouraging. And if he can just continue with his progress, it'd be exciting to see him in this offense.
Is the quick turnaround difficult on the coaching staff?
It can be, yeah. It can be from the standpoint of preparation, getting what we want to have in. So we've had to kind of smash everything into a few days, and it's from a preparation standpoint, it is difficult. From a playing standpoint, I'm excited because you don't have to wait as long before your next game.
Sonny, do you think it's good for a young quarterback like Baker to jump into the Big 12? I mean, instead of another game against a team you guys should beat, to have TCU come in third week, you think it's good for him that, hey, it's time to go right now?
Yeah, and just knowing Baker, the short time that we all have him being here, I think he just likes to play no matter who it is, and he prepares really well. He has fun in practice, and so whether it's a Big 12 opponent or a non-conference opponent, I think he's genuinely excited to play football and to be quarterback of this team.
What do you think of the mobility he's shown?
Yeah, it definitely helps this offense. I think that Coach Kingsbury's had a lot of success with guys in this offense that can move, and I think that it gives us a different dimension that you have to prepare for.
Can you talk about Jace a little bit, Sonny? Just not just this last game, but kind of how he just changes the whole dynamic of the offense when he's in there.
Yeah, he's a matchup problem. I mean, he's so big and he runs so well. He's such a big target. I think there's a comfort level from his size alone, for a quarterback, because you can put the ball nearly anywhere and he's got a chance to catch it. And he came out the second half at SMU, played well, had a really good game against Stephen F. obviously, and so you can do some different things with him, and just look for him to continue to play as hard as he can, and just to kind of worry about his assignments.
You talked about his weight and playing a little bit faster now. Is there something else he's doing better now compared to last year?
I think just experience. I think that you can see it all, like Marquez. He's same deal. He's had experience. He's been around, and just playing. When guys are able to play and keep them in the system and the experience level, and when they have a lot of talent like those kids have.
Trey Haverty a little different this week?
Coach Hav, he's pretty wound up every week. So he's coaching those guys up on the secondary, and we're all looking forward to the game.
When you beat in-state teams, do you feel like that gives you leverage in the recruiting game?
Well, it helps. It definitely helps, and so this year's class for us is a strong one. We feel good about it, and we want to go out there and make them feel good about us, by the way we play.
What are your thoughts on Jason Barrett? How do you get you guys ready to face that?
I think he's a great player. He's one of the best corners in the country. Just try to talk to our players, give them as much information on him as we can. Make sure they study a lot of film on him. But I think he's a guy that he's as quick and as fast as they come. He's a true cover corner, but at the same time, he's not afraid to tackle. He's not afraid to be physical and to mix it up. So, we'll have our hands full with Barrett. He's a very good player, and I've enjoyed watching him on film.
Sonny, going from 48 yards rushing the first week to 237 last week, what did y'all do better, or what was the reasons behind that?
Well, I think, against SMU, that was one of the things that they're going to be hard to run on all season. In between the tackles, they make it very difficult. And our offensive line, Coach Hayes did a good job with the identification of our run game versus a four-down front. And guys were able to, on the second level, as far as wideouts, getting their blocks. And I think that just the confidence grew in the run game, and we were able to play with some tempo and have some tempo runs.
Reginald Davis, a couple of touchdowns so far, which have been impressive. What else have you seen from him on the field? In other words, his all-around game when we're not watching him. How well is he doing?
Yeah, all he does is catch touchdowns. He's 2 for 2 so far. So hopefully we'd like to keep that string going. You watch him on film, the game is not too fast for him. He's playing really fast. The biggest thing is he's got to be more physical in his blocking, and he's doing that. Really encouraged by his his growth. And I think as he gets more experience, like we were talking about earlier, he's going to continue to develop into a really good player for us, and he's just got to keep it up. But he's playing fast, knows his assignments, and just like to see him block in the run and screen game a little better.
How impressed are you by the fact that so many true freshmen are able to step on the field and play so effectively for you guys?
Yeah, I think that, someone asked me about that earlier, and it goes back to the high school coaches in the state doing such a great job of developing talent year-round. In the summer, spring, these guys are throwing. These guys are very organized in their high schools, and they're very developed when we get them. And so besides them being really talented, which is what we're going after in recruiting, they're getting some good coaching in high school, and they're coming out developed, skill guys in particular, ready to develop and really ready to contribute and help us.
Players put up 56 points against TCU last season. What is the key when facing the TCU defense?
Well, they've done a good job on defense since I can remember, and the biggest thing is to protect the quarterback, protect the football, and to try to keep the chains moving because they do such a good job on defense.
Going back to the preparation from the high school level, would you say that is that night and day from whenever you left the prep level? How much of a difference is it?
I think it's grown a lot. I think that it has gotten a lot better. I know that just from the organization of 7-on-7, and now, at times who's coaching these 7-on-7s, and the high school coaches now have more involvement in the summer in terms of strength and conditioning programs. They're allowed that, and so I think that everyone has picked their game up, and it's just, it helps us, and it's fun to see and to know, when you get kids that are well coached and play the game right.
Can you give us an idea real quick about two co-offensive coordinators, the head coach, all three of you guys are very familiar with one another. What's the kind of decision-making process like from play to play possession?
Yeah, well, Coach Kingsbury, he's got the ultimate, the final say on it, and he just asks for input. And so, it's gone pretty smooth, and it's been fun to work with those guys again, and all competitive guys, and it's good to see different ideas about this offense. And so we've worked together well, and he's the guy that's got the ultimate say in it, and we just try to help him.